Well, it's Wednesday night, and it's time that we get down to business tonight. There's no doubt about it. Our main topic tonight is how to improve cash flow, a little bit about borrowing money, a little bit about the documents that you might use, tips on how to keep cash flow coming in, a little bit of general review on things we've been talking about, and kind of mainly just seeing what kind of progress that we've been making along in the series as we've all been working hard on it, of course. But the main thing we've got to do is to stay in the game. You got to get out there, let people see you. So many of you are working hard, but find the customers, help them find you, bring them on in, and then it's time to get down to some management stuff like watching your cash flow, funding and financing, and of course that's our main topic tonight, and we'll be all around it. I want each of you to have a cash flow going up, but I really wanted us to learn how to keep things steady so that you're not getting real up a lot of peaks and valleys, because that's kind of scary. A good budgeting plan and a good marketing and business plan to help you stay steady, and that's a safe way to go as you're starting out in entrepreneurship. I'm Steve Carver, right here in Dunn, North Carolina. This is my presentation number 1076, and I appreciate y'all being on my journey of entrepreneurship, because I'm still on it. I've been working at my business since I was 12 years old, except for the 4 years I was in the Coast Guard. Then I was looking after Coast Guard business, but I do love business. I love talking with customers and working with them and selling products and collecting money, and I do love to make a deposit at the bank. And I have to do it because my Norma loves to spend money. Of course, I do too. But so if you love to spend money, we have to make it and keep right on. And I'm at 76 years old right now, but probably as busy as I've ever been in my life. And so I'm glad to do it in entrepreneurship. A lot of things to consider. I want you to know I'm not a lawyer or a tax advisor or any type of attorney or accountant, but I am a fellow that's been in business now for 65 years. Did a whole lot of stuff right, did a whole lot of stuff wrong. And that adds up. If you're still in business, that means hopefully you've learned something, and I don't try to share that with y'all in such a way to do it. But my first piece of free advice to you is before you make a major decision that's going to affect your financial security or your business, get a second opinion from someone that's got a little sense, been there and done that. And one of the best places that you can get your second opinion or find a good advisor or counselor is at your small business center. And y'all that are close to Kenansville and Warsaw, North Carolina, I want you to make an appointment over at the Small Business Center with Joy Wynn. She is the new director there and is really working hard to make things click and for you and for your other people. So set up an appointment. Go by and talk to her, or she'll come to you. If you're not in a position, you go to Kenansville, she'll come to you if you're in our area and talk to you about how to help you with her business. Tanya Braswell there is also very good. She knows how to help people, knows how to set things up, get you pointed in the right direction. So give them a call. Take advantage of what the small business centers can bring to you. They are sponsoring us tonight, and we really appreciate it. Your handouts, which have been emailed to you, hopefully, and if you haven't got emails, then go to your chat board. I want y'all to go to your chat board if you can anyway and sign in with your email addresses. But if you didn't get handouts, or I mentioned something tonight you want me to send to you, you go ahead and let me know. Just drop me an email or write it in the chat boards. But tonight we're going to use our main handout number 1076, which is the talking points. The one on 40 drill skills, which become more and more important as we get near the end of our course. A handout on borrowing tips, just a fact sheet if you think about borrowing money. And some new stuff that you haven't seen in a while. First of all is the quiz for this course. To get your completion certificate of achievement or your graduation certificate, you don't need to send the quiz back to me and answer the questions. Well, old Papa Steveville here wants you to make 100 on it. So I've already sent you the quiz, or I will send it to you if you haven't got it. It's got the answers there, and all I'm asking you to do is to read it carefully, go through it very carefully, make sure you understand what the answers are. If you have any questions, just respond with an email back to me, and I will be glad as I can be to, excuse me, be glad as I can be to send answers back to you. I want everybody to make 100. Also, there's another email that's got the requirements to earn the certificates. Goes down each one of them, and we'll look at those right now so there won't be any doubt about it. Next week is part 6 of our 7-part series, which y'all been a part of. And next week, we're going to be talking about bookkeeping skills, forecasting, and negotiating. These are really important. And I want you to attend if there's any way possible. We're going to kind of move away from the marketing stuff and me trying to pump you up and motivate you to get started and do this and that. I've said it enough, and if you want to do it, come on, let's make it happen. But now we're going to move more into the business management, the nitty-gritty about what needs to be done every day. So bookkeeping basics, forecasting, and negotiating become very, very important, and that's what we'll talk about next week. Next week, I'll also send you the other quiz with the answers too. I'll do it 2 times for you. Week after next is part 7, and that closes out our first course. We're going to be talking about basic taxes, record keeping, depreciation, things that are important about daily bookkeeping, taxes, managing your money, things like that. But in addition to that, very, very important is I'm going to give you a lot of secrets, techniques to help you close sales when you are negotiating. Little tips that if you hadn't ever been in a sales class or had the experience, there's no way you can know them. And I've been there and done that, and I'm good at it, and I'm glad to share this with you. What I'm not good at is spelling. Look at I misspelled contracts there. I'll fix that next time. Also, it'll be time for us to talk about the graduation ceremony, which week after next will be the last in the regular series. So first of all, you need to fill in the blanks and send those quiz back to me, and make sure you put your mailing address on your quiz with answers when you send it back, so we'll be able to mail to you your certificates. That's your U.S. mail where the postman sends your mail to. And Sarita Sampson, one of our fellow associates here, will print them up for us, and might take us a week or 2 to get them, but we'll get them to you. And they'll be really pretty, and you'll want to put them in a frame. So what's required just to get an achievement certificate? Well, as I said at the beginning of the course, if you basically show up and pay attention and just enjoy, whether you do any homework or not, it's not required, but you do have to attend class number 7. Attend 5 of the classes, at least 5 of the classes, and part 7, week after next, is required, because that's kind of where we wrap it all up and send the quiz back to me. That automatically gets you an achievement certificate. Now, to get a second graduation certificate and membership into the Academy of Entrepreneurs and Associates, then you got to do some stuff. Again, attend the 5 classes, complete the quiz, and send in these menus of profit centers, your mission statements, a video, have a place on Facebook, or have my business account with Google, and send in introduction photos. Those are for people that want to go the extra mile there and get it done. You're showing me that you're actually making some tangible moves. Now, we've also got another certificate that you can win and qualify for. I call it the Extra Mile Certificate. And to do that, you need to do the above that we just talked about, plus one of the following. Rewrite the 40 drill skills in your words, just 1 sentence per thing, and say how you will use it or what it means to you. Create a Facebook business page and post your video on it. Create a My Business at Google account and create a testimonial where you appreciate what the Small Business Center and the Academy is trying to do for you. Just kind of help us advertise with your testimony and send that to us. And if you do those, then you can qualify for the extra mile certificate. This is not a take it or leave it situation on any of these. I know some of you don't have your business going. I know Annette, for example, you really hadn't decided on what you want to do. So some of these aren't practical for you, but all of them that you can do and do right, and you want to be considered for these other things, I certainly want to help you win these certificates, but you've got to show me that you're making the effort as best as you can, and we'll certainly work with you. We want to print everybody a certificate that are qualified, because I know that you'll care and you'll continue to help the Academy and other people around you. So thanks so much for considering to do that. Let's talk about where we're at so far. Pamela is with us tonight. Hey, Pam, glad to have you with us. We are so proud of what you're doing so far. Thank you for sending in your mission statement. Thanks for the vision and the promise statements. They're short and sweet and right to the point. But right here is where I want to mention to you. Remember those 2 sentences or 2 statements that we make for people to become a Raven fan customer? I want all of you to consider how to put that wording into one of your statements, because that really sends the message that you want to send. That you're going to do all you can to see that your customer is 100% satisfied, and they're going to be so happy they did business with you that they'll send their friends and neighbors to send to you. That's a really good promise statement. So give that some thought as you're developing your own. But thanks, Pam, for doing this. Thanks for the great photos. I like the looks of that garden. I see those peppers are growing there and pretty tomato plants. Good chickens. Great photos again. So thanks so much. I appreciate the menu that you sent in. This is the way you can develop your budget and your business plan. Listed down all the stuff that you don't have for sale, or maybe you have for sale now. You're going to need to clear us up on that a little bit. And also, I was glad to hear that you make some jams and jellies, maybe some pepper jellies or pickles. I'd like to hear all about that, and we'll see what we can buy from you. And if you can send me some photos of those different products that maybe you have now for sale, we'll put them right up here and start sending people to you. Let's don't wait. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Valerie, thank you for being with us and for upgrading your social media work, and thanks for the message you gave us just a few minutes ago that things are working good for you and that you're getting some more business in. Anyone going to Wilmington that needs a special ride, especially if you need some special consideration for a wheelchair or handicap consideration, Valerie knows the town, she knows the streets, knows how to get around, and she's got a vehicle that's made to be very comfortable for you with very reasonable rates. She can get it done. So thanks a lot, Valerie, for all that you do. And Sarita as well. We're getting ready to put Sarita to work making those certificates. And Latoya, not on board with us yet, but Latoya and Clinton, I'm so happy for you. Latoya deals with a lot of illness issues. She's coming out of it. She's making the best of everything. She wants to help other people. So thank you for all that you've done. Got some good images that she shared with us, putting them to work. And I've seen 3 posts that she's made on Facebook during the last week. Glad to see that. Got her statements that she's up and about going on, and core values. These are things that help you get that self-confidence that you need to move forward. So you might want to turn your microphones up, because she also did her first video. So congratulations. I want a video from all of you now. All of you is a big step to help you move forward. So let's see if we can get that played.
Hi everybody, my name is Victoria Matthews, and I'm a home-based company called Self-Care, Self-Aware, and Healing. I look forward to inviting you to my home and
Did you hear that? Self-Aware, Self-Care, and Healing. That's a good logo, good sign, good logo, and so glad to see that you got that included in there.
Whether it be skincare, body care, anything that you may need, I'm here for you. It's time to take care of you for a change, and I got you. And I'm a home-based company.
Let's listen again.
Self-Aware and Healing. I look forward to inviting you to my home and introducing you to wellness, whether it be skincare, body care, anything that you may need. I'm here for you. It's time to take care of you for a change. And I got you.
It's time to take care of you for a change, and I've got you. Those are good buzzwords, LaToya, and so happy that you're getting into it now. It's got a great personality online. We can take that, and when she's actually ready to start receiving money and guests, we can enhance that video, and then she can use it as a commercial. Darcy's been in touch with us a lot during the last few days. She's moving forward with developing her business, so happy and proud of her. And she's excited, she said, about doing things, getting her own florist started and developing a game plan to create more customers. She came forward with her mission statement. This one was really cool. I'll leave it up a second if y'all like to read it. But I'm just so happy for her because she said she wanted to put a little bit of her personality in it, say some things that customers may not have heard before. And I think she did a really good job with this, especially like in her last line there, what do you think about our customer service? It's like a great big warm hug. Now, that's a good statement, and she could take what she's saying here and see it in an introduction video, and that would be a great commercial. So thank you, Darcy, for what you're doing. I'm sure hopefully you'll join us a little later tonight when you get off work. Janae Pope is at White Lake, and she's putting together 2 business plans, she told me last week. Hopefully we don't hear a lot from her. One is for a wedding planning or event planning type stuff, and the other is for washing and painting and cleaning mobile homes and campers. And of course, in the Elizabethtown White Lake area, that can be a very productive and profitable business. So Janae, looking forward to getting more information from you. Jeffrey Smith has been attending and been in touch with us and sending in some information. He's the new owner of Gilligan's Island Resort Campground there. That happens to be where Norma and I have our little weekend camper, but Jeff's the new owner, and he's put together a great new website with a lot of good pictures on it, encouraging people to come and check it out, and I'll do the same. They're great folks running a great campground, and just a very nice place, and I hope their business goes really well. Tisha over in Magnolia, thank you for all that you're doing, and thank you for staying with us. And I think you're in your third year of moving forward, and still waiting for that video from you, and still waiting for that business plan. But I know you're gonna get there, so keep plugging at it, and we'll do it. Casey, are you with us tonight? Let's see, maybe not yet, but maybe so. I've got some people here I can't recognize because of the phone numbers. But Casey's staying in business with us. She's in the nursing business. She nurses in Wilmington. But for her side hustle, for her other business, she's operating a business where that she's already promoting on Facebook, where that she offers herbs and home remedies of things that she puts together from natural resources. In other words, medicines that aren't medicines, but they're remedies. And I appreciate that. Then she set up her pop-up, showed us a picture of it, how it looks when she goes to different events to sell her items. And then here's one of her tables with her different items. Thank you so much for sharing this. And she too is coming forward, hopefully with a menu and a business plan real soon. Annette, we're still pulling for you. You keep coming around. We're going to give you some good ideas, and so glad to have you with us always. You told me just a few minutes ago you'd like to send some more information in, and we'll be ready when you get here. Let me encourage you to go ahead and set up an appointment with Joy. You're very close by to Warsaw. Go by and spend a little bit of time with her. Maybe she can help you get motivated in the way that you want to go. And I know Joy would love the chance to help you with that. Cheryl in Elizabethtown has been staying with us on Tuesday nights. She's got a lot going on, and by golly, she's going to be offering some website design work, graphics work, special projects. So if y'all are ready to go forward and you got some challenges that you need, Cheryl and Sarita can probably help you move forward right away. Sabrina was with us last week. She usually comes in a little bit later. Thank you, Dr. Sabrina, for all you're doing and for getting your education business up and running and for hanging with us. Elizabeth in Clinton got a photography business. She's been with us, and a young lady that's got a great future and can really produce some great images that she's already posted on Facebook and other places. So I want your name up here. I want your pictures up here. I want your videos up here so that you can see how they look. The rest of the class can as well. And then we can refine those and you can move them right into the marketplace and start making money for your efforts. It's not rocket science. It's just being a little bit dedicated to it. And those introduction videos are so important. We're lucky tonight to have our sponsor with us. Joey, thank you for joining us. Would you like to say anything to the group? We got a good crowd tonight. Maybe
Hi, can you hear me?
I hear you fine. Thanks for being with us.
Sure, I'm glad to join. Welcome, everybody. We're glad to sponsor this event with Mr. Carver, and we're certainly available to help you or to help you find the resources that you need. So check us out at 946 Penny Branch Road. That's West Park, and that's James Sprint Community College. Available to you at any time to assist you. We want to see you grow.
Well, thank you so much, and we appreciate what you're doing. Joy shared with me yesterday that she's really got a lot of new things going on, ways to better serve you guys. So please help her help you. My goal, and I know that her goal, is to help you achieve your goals. So let's make it happen. We're excited about the opportunities, and thanks so much for putting that extra spark into the Small Business Center over there, Joey. It's going to make a lot of difference for a lot of people, I know. Good to have you. Tim, it's good to have you with us tonight. Thank you for joining and being on board with us, and I appreciate you getting your email address in there. So my job, as you can tell, I think I'm supposed to be assertive and do a little motivating, and I'm sure going to try to do that. And your job is to find the endurance to stay in the game. Stay in the game, because every day, every year, every month that you can hang in there, you'll learn a little something new that will help you make a big difference in profitability and in less stress and just more confidence. I want to remind you before we get into some other topics, that the best way that you can have more business is for you to have a diversified number of profit centers, how you'll be making money. Being diversified goes a long way to having more different customers from more different branches, places doing business with you all through the year. The way to do that is you want some profit centers, you want some things you're selling, that's what a profit center is. You want some profit centers that will be for things that people want and some that for things that people need. That's the two things that people go buy from, the things they want and the things that they need. The things that they want, you can make more money on because they are generally impulse items. There are items that people will, when they see it and they like it, it feels good, and they got a little extra money in their pocket, they'll go ahead and spend it. So generally, you can make a little more profit, sometimes a lot more profit, on things that people want. Things that people really need and they're buying daily and weekly, they're going to shop harder for those, and maybe you don't need to narrow down your margin somewhat so you'll be competitive with the rest of the world. But you want to sell those people these things they need, even if you're making just a little bit of money on them, because that means you're coming back every day, every week, and such as that. And the coming back, that repeat business, it means sustainability for your business. The way you achieve that is you pick the right profit centers that do it. If you're getting good customer traffic, with people are coming to you to buy things that they need, and you've got your merchandising in good shape or your website marketing in good shape that we talked about last week, then they will see items that they want, and the impulse will lead them to go ahead and buy it. Net result, you got a lot more business. You got a lot of upsells going on, and your profitability will be fine. So make a footnote. Look over what you're doing in your business. Do you have some things that people want, and do you have some things that people need? I'm encouraging you to have both. That way, I really feel like your business will have a lot more business. So you need to stop being a spectator. I'm glad to have you here online, but I want you to get your business out in the world. Stop being a spectator, guys, and let's go ahead and get in the game, and you become a player, and things will be so much well. when you do that, when you can become that player. Let's see here. Timothy, I'm glad to see you're on the video. Let me give you a big wave. Where are you located tonight?
I'm in Williamston, North Carolina.
I love Williamston. Let me ask you, is the Sunny Side open? The Sunny Side Oyster Bar?
We've been by there a couple of times. It doesn't look like they're open yet. Which also surprised because this is the letters with the months have R's in it. So I thought they would be open.
Well, the oysters aren't quite big enough or clean enough yet, but I'm going to be down there on Christmas Eve night or the night before Christmas. That's going to be an annual event with my family. And let me invite you to come on over, and I'll buy you an oyster or two, okay? I do love Williamson. Thank you for being with us. All right, so I want you to be a player in this game and get into business. Be familiar with who you're talking to. Start creating some relationships. Get in the game. Funding is our main topic tonight. Where can I find the money to keep my business up and running? Where can I find the money to get it started? Where can I find the money for special projects? Where can I find the money to buy the things I need, to sell? Lots of questions. Everyone in business at some point in time of every day will say, hey, I don't need some money to do this or to do that. So where can you find it? Where is the helping hand that you can always find to help you find more money? There's two helping hands out there. You may not be aware of it, but I'm going to tell you, they are exactly at the end of your own arms. That's where the two helping hands are that's going to do you the most good. And I'm going to do my best tonight to help you put your own helping hands together, because just like you know, when it gets right down to it, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And the first person that needs to know a little bit about this is you. So let's talk about that. One of the places you can get some good advice, though, if you just are out in the cold and have no clue, is to go to your small business center and talk to that director, because they have training to help you look at the options in your area or maybe in your business and help you get a plan together. I'm not kidding about these small business centers. They can make a world of difference, and it's free for you. But we have to deal with the hand we got. If you're playing poker or rummy or spades, you don't get your cards, and once you get your hand, that's what you got to play with. And some of us have some hands that's all aces, some full houses, but the most of us, like old Papa Steve-O here, I didn't even have a pair, okay? So you have to play with what you got and figure out how to make it work. Now, I just lied, so I apologize. A good Christian man like me shouldn't be lying on TV here, but here's the deal. I was born into the business. My dad took the risk. My dad started the business with borrowed money, and he worked his head off as long as he could work for 20 years and build a business from $3,000 of borrowed money into a multi-million-dollar business and or to a good business. And then after 20 years, I was there, and I kept it going on for another 35 years, and business grew and did well. So I had advantages that a lot of people don't have getting started. But when I sold my business 15 years ago, then I had to start all over, and I have learned firsthand what it is to get started again. And so I've been on both sides of that and looking forward to working with us. But the fact of the matter is, we got to work with what we got in our hands and make it go. So let's clear the air on some things. You hear these on TV, people talk about getting a grant here and some free money there, or I don't go down here and apply for this and that over there. That is pretty much 95% pure hogwash. There ain't no free money. There ain't no free ride. There ain't no free lunch in this world. Anyone that's selling you that bill of goods is probably lying to you. Papa Steve over here is not going to do that. I don't say to you, there's some good opportunities out there. But if you don't buy a lottery ticket, you probably ain't going to win the lottery. And if you do buy a lottery ticket, like I bought one all since they had a lottery, I got two of them hanging up here. I keep one all the time. And do I think I'm going to win it? Well, heck yeah. One day I'm going to win that sucker. I don't, that's what I have to think. But that's my best chance of getting some free money. It is not because I got a small business. Because the fact of the matter is, a brand new small business goes to a banker and asks for a loan, they're going to look at you and say, well, if you hadn't been in business for 2 years and have a positive cash flow record and have some collateral and know what the heck you're doing, then please don't even give me an application. If they don't say it to you, that's what they're thinking. So tonight, I don't help you work around that and at least be educated in what's really happening in the world. There are a few, I've got to say, Joey probably knows of a few competitive grant situations that you might be able to apply for as a brand new entrepreneur, but I don't know that it's going to be free money grant. She might have some loan opportunities for you, and I do too. I know some people that can work with you that I'll be glad to share with you. But wishing and hoping that someone's going to come along and drop you some money in your pocket because you want to have a business ain't going to happen. It just ain't going to happen. So what you can do is get some loans, though, if you're a special loan consideration. And what makes you special? What might help you get that loan or get that break from somewhere? Because there are angel investors out there. There are some people that might invite you to join in their business or that you might be able to take over another business. But what's going to open those doors for you? One is your credit worthiness. Have you got a good history of borrowing money and paying it back? Well, those of us that have a little age on us probably have borrowed some money, but did we pay it back as we were supposed to? That's the key. But young folks who have never borrowed money, they don't have a credit history, and that's a disadvantage for them. And we'll talk about that a little bit. If you're borrowing money, someone's going to ask you, how much down payment are you making? How much of your money are you putting in the game? They call it putting skin in the game. If you're not putting any of your skin in the game, why in the world would they want to loan them their money? If you've got nothing to lose, why would they want to lose anything? And collateral is the right nice word, and some of you may know what it means, maybe not. But collateral is that hard asset, land or property or CDs or something tangible that you can say to the lender, if I don't pay this stuff back, here, you can have this stuff. And used to be, you could take $100 worth of collateral, used to be like 50 years ago, you could take $100 worth of collateral to a lender and they'd loan you $100. But these days, if you want that $100, you're going to have to carry them $300 or $400 worth of collateral to get that $100. In other words, they're not about taking risk with entrepreneurs. And I really can't blame them. I need to say here now, it's not that they're bad people. It's not that they're sinners or somebody you don't want to mess with. It's the fact is that loan officer is sitting there trying to be nice to you and say nice things. But what's on his mind or her mind? He's covering his butt. Because he knows if he submits an application and approves it and it goes south and you don't pay the loan back, then he's either or she's either going to lose her job or probably never get another promotion at the bank. So you can't blame them for being critical, because a lot of small businesses, a majority of small businesses that open up go out of business within 2 or 3 years for one reason or another. I'm happy to say that not many of the businesses that we help at the Small Business Center do that, because we try to help you have a good business plan and kind of know where you're going. So that's a good reason to be a part of these webinars and seminars and going to the small business centers. The lender wants you to have a good, wide vision of your business and what you're going to be doing there. You don't need to understand the ins and outs of it. You know, some of us go to a business and we stand outside at the counter and we buy their hot dogs or we buy their cars or we buy whatever it is they're selling, and it's a feel-good place. I mean, you enjoy doing business there, and you say, you know, I want to have a business just like this. This is what I want to do. This is the business I want to start. The problem with that is, you know what was happening out in the showroom or in front of the counter, talking to the well-trained salesman and listening to their pitch, and everything felt real good. But what you don't know is what's going on behind the counter, what's going on back in the back room, in the shop, all like that. So you know pretty side of the business, but have no clue about the working end of it. A lot of people make that mistake. Say, this is a great business, I want to do it, until they find out what's going on in the back end. That's why you need to have a good, wide vision. And before I don't loan you any money, I don't have a conversation to see where you are. The Small Business Center directors tell me that they hear 50% of the people that come to see them say, I need some money. I need some money to get my business started. And the director will look at them and say, one of the first questions is, well, thank you for coming by. I mean, they're going to be real nice to you. And then they'll say, now, tell me about your business plan. Tell me about your business plan and how much money do you need and how are you going to use it when you get it? And those directors at the Small Business Center say people will look at them kind of starry-eyed like, wow, why are you asking me that question? And the answer is, it's a must. You've got to do some homework. You got to be a little bit prepared before you can ask anybody to hand you some money. So keep that in mind. Coming to and finishing and being serious about the course like we're involved in right here, you already know if you've been into it deep, I'm going to ask you to get prepared. I'm going to say to you, if you're not prepared, you're probably not going to go forward. We can have a good time, and you can go forward at your own pace, but when the rubber meets the highway, you got to do some homework yourself before you get to the Small Business Center, or when you're there, listen to them and do what they suggest, but definitely before you sit down in front of a lender or a vendor. Now listen, you may already have money, you might have deep pockets, or your Aunt Myrtle may have just gave you $1 million and say, go get in business. But that don't mean you can go to a vendor like a manufacturer of automobiles or a tractor dealership or someone that's got the best shoes in the world, a Nike company, and want to become one of their dealers. Because they don't care how much money you got. They want to know, can you run a business? Can you represent their name brand properly? So that's why it's important to be prepared before you jump in here and start getting into a lot of money. Your business plan is going to be important. And this past week, I just put together a brand new seminar for the director here in Dunn that's called Budgeting 101, which takes business planning and focuses it in strictly on the budgeting aspect. So I'll mention that to you. I'm sure I'll be offering that sometime in the fall and next spring. And I've already got a handout on it that I can share with you. And Joey, I'll mention that. It was really good and really enlightening. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with a lot of people. So you don't need a business plan. You don't need a budget. You don't need some idea how you're going to do your marketing. And then you have to know, my friends, that when you borrow money from an institution or an angel investor, then you're going to have to give a personal guarantee. A personal guarantee. That means that, yes, your business can be borrowing the money, but when you sign it as the business, that's good. They're going to ask you to sign it again. I would ask you to sign it again to give me a personal guarantee. And that means if the business don't pay this money back, then I'm expecting you to pay it back and to use your personal assets to do it. And that personal guarantee is going to cover your toothbrush. It's going to cover your chainsaw. It's going to cover your bulldog. It's going to cover your wife's wedding ring. That's how serious personal guarantees are. So you don't need to go out here borrowing money thinking that you can just walk away from it if things go south, because you can't do it. They will come after you big time, and they know what you're doing. Now, who is they? Heck, I'm one of them. I've been doing it for years, and we know how to do it too. So, yeah, personal guarantee and collateral is really important. As a matter of fact, it's a good business to get into. Maybe you might want to consider that. We'll talk about that a little later. So, knowing those ABCDs, how to connect the dots that we talked about in week 2, make sure that you're making decisions that make sense and everything's going to keep that wheel rolling in your business. You want to know the risk of your business. As a counselor or a lender, I would say, what are the risks in your business? What's going to cause you trouble? And I expect you to have some answers. I expect you to know look, the sun's not gonna shine on you every day. I don't care where the dog lies. Sometimes it's gonna get rained on. And every business is gonna catch some curveballs someday. Do you know what the risks are in the business you're getting ready to start? Well, Valerie's with us tonight. She started a transportation business about 2 or 3 years ago, doing real well at it. But as an entrepreneur, she tells me every time that we talk, Valerie, and I appreciate it, you've learned a new risk. You learn how people can get the service and figure out how not to pay you. You learn a new risk about how people will make an appointment and you drive all the way over there and heck, they're not there. So you've wasted half a day. There are risks in every business. There's risk in my business and there'll be in yours. But a lender's going to want to know, do you know what those risks are? But more importantly, do you know the risk management tools that you will use so the risk won't sink the boat? Yep, that's reasonable, isn't it? So I got good news for you. You can go to an insurance agent and he'll type in on his computer the type of business that you're in, and he'll have a screen that'll come up and talk about every risk that's involved in that business. Whether you got a bakery or a trucking company or a babysitting company or a sewing company, because you know what insurance companies do? They insure risk. So that's just a little tidbit, no extra money for that. That's a good place to go find out what the risks are if you hadn't already figured it out. But another place you can figure out what the risks are in this business you're getting ready to start there is find someone with some white hair. Yeah, well, maybe no hair at all. But if you can find somebody with white hair that's been there and done that, they can tell you a lot of stuff. And if you ask them in a nice way, they'll be glad to. Yes, I'll be happy to share. And Joy would be really good at that. If she don't know about what's going on in your business, she probably knows somebody that does, or she can call somebody like me that knows somebody that does, and we'll help you get started. We'll help you get that business plan and marketing plan started if you're not quite there, and you're going to need it. But first, we have to be humble. We have to say, I don't know everything, and there's a lot I need to know. I do know that I want this thing, and I've got the energy and enthusiasm to go after it. And the first place to start going after it is getting your ducks in a row, and your small business centers can help you do that. So let's kind of lighten up here just a little bit. And I like to think about country western songs and all. We need money, so maybe we got the blues. Maybe I got to have some money blues and things like that. Sounds like a country music song. But listen here, I got a few suggestions. Break the piggy bank. You got a piggy bank back there? Just break that sucker open, and I'm sure you got $5,000-$6,000 in there, right? Nah. But at any rate, maybe there is a piggy bank somewhere at your house or in your family. Who knows? Whatever we need to do not to go in debt first is a good thing to do. So find that piggy bank. But my Aunt Myrtle, she was a sweetheart. She looked after me and my brother Mike. She'd carry us on vacations once a week during the summer. She lived up in Greensboro. We lived in Fayetteville. So she'd come out and pick us up, and we'd head down to, it used to be called Ocean Drive. That's where we went until we were 16 and could really enjoy it. Then we had to go to Long Beach where there was nothing there except nothing. But at any rate, she kept her money. Her and Uncle Gene worked in the Calm Mills, and they saved money every week for summer vacations. And they put their money in the freezer. That's where she kept her extra money. And we called it cold cash. The old cold cash Aunt Myrtle had. Because she would pull out these wads of money wrapped in rubber bands. And if you smelled it, you could smell the freezer odor on it like that. And she'd carry these bundles of money down to the beach with her. And when me and my brother needed to do something, she'd peel us out $5 or $10 and give it to us. And we said, Aunt Myrtle, give me some cold cash and such as that. Well, actually, we said, Aunt Myrtle, can we borrow some money? People get taught early about borrowing, and that's the easier way to get it. We had no intention of a loan or paying it back, but we'd say, will you loan me $5 to go have some fun with? Sure. She just handed out. She had cold cash, and I knew a lot of people that came from the 20s that didn't trust the banks, and they keep their money in secret places like in the freezer, and Aunt Myrtle was one of those. My grandmother Carver kept her money in mason jars out in the yard. She buried her cash out in the yard, put it right down in the ground and hid it, and wouldn't tell anyone where there was. So I've often thought about going down to her house and digging up a bunch of holes like I've got in this slide here and see if I could find some of those jars. But the fact of the matter is, when my dad Alvis decided to wanted to take the leap and start his own business, he asked his mom, my Granny Carver, to loan him some money. And she went out in the yard and found a jar with $3,000 of cash money in it and just handed my daddy the jar. And he took that $3,000 with a partner or two and started Carver Equipment Company in 1959 in Dunn. It was Alice Chalmers dealership, a tractor dealership. So I started, $9,000 total. To start a dealership today costs you about $6 million. Isn't that something how things have changed? At any rate, he bought out his partners in a couple of years because things were tough and they wanted to sell out, so he bought them and kept the business going, paid back Granny with interest money. But our business started down in the ground in a mason jar. So I want to tell you, if mine started there, maybe yours might too. But you know, there's a lot of stuff around. Some businesses, especially side hustles that maybe you're thinking about getting started in, you can start with $2,000 or $3,000 or less. Matter of fact, I can send you a list of 50 businesses that you can start with $100 or less. And I'll be glad to do that. Just put it over in chat, make sure I got your email address. 50 businesses you can start with $100 or less. Now, a lot of those might become a second or third profit center in your business. But the getting started when you're just flat butt broke, there ain't nothing wrong with selling mess around that's in the backyard or out beside the field, or maybe some of your kin folks have got they hadn't used in years, and you say to them, look, if you'll let me sell that and let me have half of it, I'll sell it for you. Or sometimes they just give it to you. But turning old stuff into cash money that you can start having a living with, clean up the yard. By golly, I wish Norma would let me sell about 2/3 of the stuff she's got crammed around the house here. I could take a vacation with it. So people just need to turn loose of some of that old junk that's not making any money, that's in the way. Old motorcycles, bicycles, little wagons, cameras, four-wheelers, tables, old dining stuff, plates and silverware and things. There's value in all that. Put it together, have a yard sale, carry it to the place and sell it. You know, you put $100 worth of stuff in the bank, or sell $100 worth of stuff, and you carry that $100 and go put it in the bank. You do that 10 times, you got $1,000. It adds up in a hurry. It really does. And if you spend it right, and we get this business started right, a little bit at a time, it's amazing what you can do when you get started. Always kind of go back to what I was saying about my dad. He took $3,000, and now our business, even after I sold it, just keeping the website, we're still doing $1 million a year out of it. Just amazing to get something started and do it right and to hang with it. If I can do it, you can do it. One way you can get started, and I've seen at least 10 of my associates through the years that are coming to these webinars and seminars, get their business started by having some plate sale dinners at their house in their backyard on weekends. A lot of us guys like to cook on the grill, and we can do a good job. We can cook burgers, we can cook steaks, we can do tenderloins, we can do ribs, we can have pig pickings and chickens, and whatever you can think of. If it can be cookable, we can put it on a grill and cook it. And you can do that and invite your friends and neighbors to come on over, because they're going to go somewhere on Friday and Saturday night and pay some money and buy something to eat. And they're going to go out now. They used to go out and be able to spend $8 and feed somebody. Now you're going to spend $12 or $15 per person. But you can put together chickens and barbecue and things like that on your grill. Have a big event in your backyard. Sell those plates for $10 to $15 a piece, and people will give you tips galore if they know they're there helping you start a business. It is amazing how generous people will be at fundraisers to help people start a business. So doing this can be so special. Spaghetti is one of the best ways to make a lot of money. It don't cost a lot to put it together, easy to cook, easy to serve, good. Chickens, people love chickens more so than they do pork now. I used to do pig pickings all the time, and I'd have a lot of pork left over, and everybody would eat up all the chicken. So now when I'm have a cookout or a fundraiser, I usually prepare more chicken than I do pork. Those people love it, kids love it as well. But you can sell these plates. This is an actual picture of a fundraiser that was done over in Windsor, North Carolina, over close to Williamston. At Windsor a few years ago, where a couple of ladies were starting their business, and in conjunction with their church, they did it with their church. It was a 50-50 deal, and the church got involved, and they ended up with about $5,000 to put in the bank after one weekend's of work. It is amazing what you can do, and I'll be glad to give you some tips. The best tip I can give you is how to organize that. Now, I've been organizing fundraisers for a lot of years for a lot of people, and I love it because it's a good way to help people and help them get moving. I call my organizing plan a dozen doers, people doing stuff. And if you can find a dozen people to help you get involved with the plan for you and your business, or a loved one that's having a cancer drive or a sickness drive or a burnout drive, this is a good plan to work, and I'll welcome you to use it. I've put it to work over 25 years and shared it a dozen times. But you get you a dozen people, give each one of them a title and something to do, and get them excited about it. First of all, you get together and have a little dinner or breakfast or a lunch and tell them what you're trying to achieve, and those that will agree with you, get into it. Now, the good news is if you're starting a business, these people will automatically be raving fan customers because they're going to help you from day one get started. And they'll go out and tell other people about helping you get started. So give everybody a job. I don't want you to take one of the jobs. No, I want you to be kind of free and be able to oversee and chit-chat with everybody as things are going on. Get your committee people to get it done. Start with a project chair and go right down the list, get everyone something to do, and you just will be surprised what can happen. Now, if it's a big fundraiser and you're hoping to get $5,000 or more, we'll say, I want you to allow yourself about 60 days. Longer than 60, things will get old. But allow yourself 2 months to get organized, get your tickets printed, distributed, sales, get your sales coming in. Find people that will donate plates. Find people that will donate the pig. Find people that will donate chickens, tea, cakes. You'll be amazed with folks that will donate stuff so you don't have to buy it. Therefore, your ticket sales are all profit. Yeah, it's just amazing. It really is. 6 years ago, maybe 7, I had a good friend who had 3 kinds of cancer, and he was in treatment and losing everything he had and broke. And I talked him into letting me sponsor a fundraiser for him. He was real proud. He really didn't want to do it, but finally said, I got to do this. In 60 days, we had a dinner where people had donated stuff for a private auction with and auctioned off cakes that some bakeries donated, and just a long list of stuff. Had over 400 people come to a community center, served barbecue all day long, and at the end of the day had $27,000 plus cash left over. I paid all the bills. Some people we had to pay to do this at $27,000. Now that's a lot of money. And by golly, you can do it too. Be glad to help you any way I can. If you put on one of these, then I'm going to contribute something. I'll buy some paper products or furnish a pig or do something for you, and there'll be a world of other people that do the same thing for you. Now, I've already laid the groundwork down to tell you that the chances of getting a big loan from a lender as a brand new business person is kind of slim. But I can also tell you that the fact of the matter is, just like my dad ended up, the only place he could end up with some money was borrowing money from family. Lots of times you can borrow money from family and friends, but I don't want anybody to end up being a fool here. This is not a game. Borrowing money from family and friends is serious, and I want you to treat it serious, but I want to talk to you about it. If you do decide to go this route, make sure you handle it like a business transaction. In other words, you have it well documented, just like you were dealing with a lender. You make sure that the payment dates are firm, what's expected, what happens if you don't pay on time, what are the collateral, what's in it for the lender if you fall on your face. Treat it just like a business loan, and there's no reason you can't go forward with it. That's what my dad did with his mom, and it worked out well. I've seen a lot of other people do that as well. The vehicle you want to use with this is a promissory note. Promissory note. It's kind of a fancy word, but the main word in there is promise, and then note, which means it's a piece of paper, a note, where you make a promise to pay back money. And it's been around since old England, back in just after the Dark Ages, when people started documenting this and wanted to borrow money for somebody else or to move ahead. So the promissory note is still the document in 2023 that we would use to borrow money or to loan money to you or to me. Promissory note. Now, when you go buy a used car or a new car or buy a home or go to borrow some cash at the bank or to borrow any kind of money and you're signing a document, it is in usually 90% a promissory note. They may change the name of the top title, like security agreement or a bank loan or mortgage loan. They may call it different things, but the body of that piece of paper is indeed a promissory note, a contract where you're going to pay back money that you borrowed. So it's important for me, I think, to teach you guys what the promissory note is, because at some point in time, there's going to be one of them put in front of you. Promissory notes are typed out documents now, and you can print them off the internet, and every lawyer's office, every banker's got them. They're called promissory notes. But you could just write one out in handwriting, spelling out what the deal is, what the interest rate's going to be, the terms of the payments, and so forth. Write it out right by hand, and you and whoever's borrowing can sign it, and you got a promissory note. Might not be very pretty, but it can be very legal. And it might be something you would start with, making an agreement, writing it out by hand before you go find the actual document and type in the information. But an actual note looks like this, and this is one I made a copy of and wrote it on here. And the date up here says 2017, but it would be the same document if it said 2023. But it lists down all the people that are involved, who's borrowing the money, how much, the amount, what the dates are, state what the interest rates are. So you don't need to understand interest here. There's several different kinds of interest. How are you going to repay it in monthly or annual payments or certain payments on demand? Remedy means how are we going to fix this thing if it goes south? What are the options we're going to have if you get in trouble? And maybe you want to pay it off early. And will there be any problems doing that? You could talk about that in your note. You can talk about, can you sell this paper to someone else? In other words, can I get you to sign this document where you owe me? Do I have the right to take that document and sell it to someone else for a little less money, let them make some profit, and then you end up paying them? Got to be careful with that, because that happens quite a bit when you're borrowing money from lenders. You go to the bank today and borrow the money on a used car, and you think you're dealing with a bank there in your town in Williamston or in Whiteville or wherever you're at. Well, the bank is glad to do the work for you, but then in a month or two, you get a letter from some other bank. And what's happened there is your local bank sold that paper to another one. So now you're obligated to pay that other bank and not the local one. So just know that kind of stuff happens. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's kind of surprising and puts a bad taste in your mouth sometimes, because they didn't tell you they were going to do it. It does me anyway. I thought I was doing business with the local guy and ended up doing business with somebody in Timbuktu. So I don't know about that. So what are the laws? What states are you operating in? And what's the deal on that? So know that a promissory note is going to be in your future one or two ways. One, now you're just getting started and you're on the borrowing side. You're the person that needs the money. So some type of document's going to be put in front of you that's going to resemble this very, very much. But number two, and on the happy side, someday you're going to have some money, some big money, and people don't want to borrow it from you. And that process is when you have some money to loan to someone else, then you need to go find your promissory note and make it work for you as your document and your security. The word security here is major. It is the rock that keeps the lending industry working. You know, people will loan you money, but they want to be secure in what they're doing. And the documentation has a long way to do with that. But man, I want to tell you, you know what? The world is full of twists and turns and crooked lawyers and good lawyers and crooked lawyers and crooked lawyers. And maybe one more good lawyer. But at any rate, you want to know there's always a chance that things can get screwy. So what can you do to your lending document, to your promissory note, to make it more legal? Yeah, there's certain grades of legal. There's a little bit legal, a little bit more legal, there's just a touch more legal, and then there's ironclad legal. And does that mean you will always be able to get your money or have your way? No, there's always a wrinkle somewhere that might get you. That's why you need to find that one good lawyer in the middle of those 2,000 bad ones, no doubt. Okay, so what can you do to make your document more legal? This is important whether you're the one that's borrowing money to get your business started, or you are in the loaning business and you're loaning money to help someone else get started. Perfecting a lien, that's the term that they use in court. Perfecting, that means becoming more perfect. Establishing priority, it means that my document is more important than your document because of this, and this. Having things to happen. So what makes that document more legal? Well, first of all, let me get back here. First of all, having a witness the signatures. You sign it as the person that's borrowing the money, and the lender signs it, and y'all share copies. So you got signatures there. That's about as little legal as you can get. Even more unlegal than that is y'all talking about it and shaking hands and say, okay, we got a deal. That's going to be hard to prove in court. And just because the two of you signed it doesn't mean that one might say the other forged their signature, or he didn't know what he was signing, or she didn't know what he was signing. So we need to make it a little more legal. So how do we do that? Number one is have a witness watch y'all sign those documents, and they sign that they saw your document and they know who you are, and indeed your signature was here and their signature was there. Now, when someone witnesses a document like this, and you may be asked to witness the document sometime, even a notary public, when they witness a document, they do not say that they know what's in the document. They do not say they know the terms or the penalties or the collateral or even what's being sold. What they are saying is you proved who you were with some type of identification, or they knew you, and when they signed that document, they are simply saying, I'm testifying that this person was indeed here and signed the document. Okay? It has nothing to do with what's up top, so they're not accountable for all that. When a notary public, which is an officer of the court, when they say that and they put their seal on it, that really bumps it up to a more legal document, because an officer of the court, you stood in front of the officer of the court and said who you were, produced IDs, and if you're doing it fraudulently, then you're breaking a law there. So it becomes more legal, and a judge or a magistrate will be more likely to believe what is being said if that document had been notarized. Now, lastly, you've done the notary work. You're borrowing something from somebody else, and you're paying for it. Well, by golly, you want to know that there's no other liens on that thing that you're buying, on that car or truck or saw or tractor or backhoe. Someone selling it to you as a used piece of equipment or even new, and you're going to borrow a lot of money on it and sign your name there. But do you know for sure that whoever's selling it didn't steal it or hadn't already borrowed a lot of money on it? That piece of equipment, when you buy it, there's already $200,000 owing on it. How can you be assured that you're not getting in that quicksand or in that hole? Well, that's when you search the records. So you carry this document to the courthouse and you search the records under who's selling it and see if there's any other information, any loans that they may have on it. Because if they had borrowed money on it somewhere else and the loan was recorded, which it would have to be legal, be there, and you'll be able to see if someone already has a lien on this document. And whether or not they're selling you what's called mortgaged merchandise. Have to be careful with that out here in the entrepreneur world with people that's dealing quick and trying to stay, what they say, under the table type stuff. Because lots of times that means that the title's not there or they don't have title to it. But when you carry it to the courthouse and you have the title checked, or the lawyer does that, because they have insurance companies that back them up, then when they declare it free and clear and okay to move forward with it, then you can record that lien with the register of deeds and it becomes a legal document. So I know I'm not trying to drag this out. I just want you to have a good understanding. So things go south. You want to, by golly, go get your money, or someone's trying to get their money, and here we are in front of the judge, and I'm standing up here saying, look here, I need to be able to repossess that car or that tractor, or I don't need to pay this for whatever reason. And the judge says, well, show me your paperwork. So they get this paperwork up, and your document was recorded on January 1st. And there's someone else standing there saying they've got a lien on it too, and their document was recorded on December 31st, the day before yours was. And both of you are owed $10,000. And somehow or another the stuff was sold and there was $10,000 collected, and now the judge is trying to decide how it's to be dispersed. And guess what? You say, Judge, hey, give me that $10,000, that's mine. And the judge will say, sorry, Steve-O, you recorded your lien on January 1st, and this other person recorded their lien for $10,000 on December 31st. They get the $10,000, and you just get a pat on the back and an I'm sorry, you're not getting a penny. So a lot of issues related to filing and things that can go wrong. And when we're entrepreneurs and we don't have a lot of money to take chances with, you need to know this stuff. So before you borrow money, before you sign documents, before you start getting notaries and signature, take a little brief course, talk to someone that's there, get some good advice. You don't need to go to college. We're talking about 2 or 3 hours worth of conversation even. Just talk about it, make sure you trust what's going on, because you're looking at a fellow that's been doing this for 65 years, and 1 out of about 300 deals end up some way in court for one reason or another. And you know how it is. It's going to be my deal or your deal if Murphy's riding along. But if you've done your homework with your promissory note, getting them perfected, things will go well. This is going to be true with your leases when you're getting your business started and you lease some property, a rental. It's going to be true when you rent equipment. It's going to be true when you sign a security agreement with a vendor. Do your homework, make sure everything's legal. Talk to someone that's been there and done that and get some free advice if it's brand new for you. Moving on now, a lot of us go look for money from a partner or an investor. which is just fine, and I highly recommend that. It's a good thing. If it keeps you out of debt and you get access to that money, then that's good as long as everything's above board and your documents are in place. But it's important that you know that there is a difference in an investor and a partner. Partners are joining the gamble. They're taking the risk with you. A partner that invests money with you, if you lose money, they lose money. If you make money, they make money. Now, they may not be a partner involved in the actual doing things, active in the business, but from the financial side, they're in it, and they're partners, and they lose and win as you do. An investor, though, is going to loan you money for you to pay back at a certain interest rate and on a certain date. They don't get to come in and be a partner. They don't get to have anything to do to say to you how you run your business. A partner indeed may, but an investor, and you got to be careful with this, an investor is all about that promissory note document. That's his security and the collateral that you put up. So you have to be careful, especially with investors like Uncle Tom, Uncle Joe, Papa Frankie. They want to give you $5,000 to help you get your business started, but the very day you get ready to open up, they're coming around and say, look here, Cousin Timmy needs a job, and I want you to hire him since I'm an investor in your business. How about giving Cousin Timmy a job? It don't make any difference if he hadn't even got out of rehab yet. They still want you to hire him because they are an investor. This happens. It happens more times than it doesn't happen with family investors especially. So right now, let me tell you, it's okay to borrow money from friends and family, but if you're getting it as an investor, you make sure it's clear to them that they don't have any right to tell you how to run your business. What you're obligated to is to pay them back on a certain day a certain amount of money. That's it. Okay, we're talking about the bad parts first here, but that's all right. We don't talk about that. So where do you go to get traditional loans? Well, the best places: community banks, large commercial banks, credit unions, government agencies like SBA. I was in a class this past week with a fellow that's got an application in for $450,000 with SBA. And he says he's feeling good about it. He's going to open up a brewery. So I'm happy for him. It looks good. He's having to jump through a lot of hoops. Private organizations, and I know a few of those, Joy probably does too, and individuals, which we call angel investors. Well, first of all, let me mention credit unions to you. Credit unions are banks, but they're different. Credit unions are all about serving their memberships. Marine credit union, sailors credit union, teachers credit union, state employees, and so forth. The thing about credit unions are they are not supposed to, by law, loan money for business loans. Whoa. No, they are all about loaning money for personal loans. So if you're thinking about getting your money to help get your business started from the credit union, let me tell you a little secret. Don't go in there and say you're getting this money for a business loan, because they will have to say, no, we can't do it by law. And they won't take any chances on that. So in your written preparation, and they'll ask you on the documents here, what is this loan for? Then you need to write on there for personal project, home improvements, starting a new hobby. Don't mention the word business anywhere on that application, because it'll make it squirrel or bring on some conversation you don't want to have. So how you borrow your money there is up to you, and you take your personal hobby, and after you get your money, you can turn it into a side hustle or a business if you want to. Or you can take that money that you were going to use on your house improvement and do a little bit of house improvement and say, you know what, I'm ready to move on now with this and that. So just be flexible there. You understand what I'm saying? We don't want to mention business on that application, because credit unions are really good about getting your home equity loans. They're really good about giving you some flexibility, usually very good rates. But Be careful with that. Just don't mention business at the credit union. Now, with angel investors, who is that? That angel investor is someone that's not a bank. It's just an individual that's doing business as an individual. Private organizations might be a local loan company. Kind of got to be a little careful with a lot of those. These people that are advertising, get your loan here, walk in today, walk out a millionaire, that kind of stuff. Generally, if it's that easy, that means the rates are out of the world or their demands are going to be just as tough. Or for all I may know, they may be coming around and break legs if you don't pay them. But got to be careful with the private organizations and check them out. Some of them are really good. Some of them ain't so good. Just know that. Now, the community-based banks are more apt to be friendly to a community person, especially if you are involved in the community and you got your roots there and you got friends and family working in town. if your brother runs the bank, he's probably a good place to go, no doubt. Or your mama's the loan officer there, you might get involved. But what I'm saying is, in so many things, and you've heard this so many times before, it ain't what you know, it's who you know. It's not what you know, it's who you know, especially with borrowing money in a small town at a local bank. That's a good thing, though, because if you got a good reputation in the community and you know some people, you probably know someone that is friends with or knows the president of the bank or the vice president or the loan officer, and we're going to do some talking before you ever send that application in. Always kind of what the director over at the seminar the other night said, always grease the tracks if you can. If it's nothing but a phone call from the local SBA director or someone to a loan officer, kind of making an introduction. Anything is better than nothing. When you go in that bank and you're ready to talk about an application, you want to have some type of pre-work done to grease your tracks. So that's why I'm taking the time to say this. Otherwise, as a small business, new entrepreneur with no history in business, they'll sit there and be so nice to you and talk to you and offer you a cup of coffee, might even have a cookie for you. And they'll help you fill out that application, ask you the questions. Thank you so much for leaving this here. I'll see what we can do. I'll turn it over to the committee. Well, turn it over to the committee means they're going to pass it on. And passing it on may mean they stack it up in the bathroom back there with all those other loan applications. But if you grease the tracks and someone has mentioned to that loan officer that you're coming in, or they got a phone call and they were expecting you, then your application will indeed go up close to the top. That's just life. Again, it's not that they don't like you or they're trying to stop you or they don't want you to get in business. They don't want to lose their job because they turned in an application that ended up going south. So that's the facts. And some of them are kind of good if you know them, but it will always come back to do your homework, have a business plan, be able to talk intelligently about what you're going to do in your business, get the coaching to help you practice that at your small business center or in our webinars and seminars, and things will go a whole lot better. The angel investor is the person that's got money individually, and they can put their money in the bank, or they can take their money out of the bank and loan it to people like me and you. That's an angel investor. It goes on all the time. They're always going to have a promissory note, and they're always going to want to know what you're going to do in your business. And they might even want to own a part of your business or have some say about the running of it. But they're not going to be as hard to get along with as the banks are. Now, interest rates have just started going up. Everybody's heard that, right? And angel investors, when interest rates were so low, were making almost zero money on their cash in the bank. Now they're starting to make a little bit. And when you borrow money from them or they loan you money, they're going to make a little bit of money, but it's usually less than what the banks charge you, or especially the private lender corporations. How do you find out who the angel investors are? One, talk to someone that's in the know. Your small business center directors may know some in the area. But usually angel investors are the people in the community that's got a lot of money, and you can usually find every one of the largest ones' names because they're sitting on the board of directors at the different banks. Yeah, that's how you get on the board of directors at a bank, is you make a lot of deposits. So how do you find out who's on the board of directors? Well, you can walk up there and ask them and ask for a list of them because it should be public knowledge. This is not a secret. Or you can go to the bank's website and they've probably got a place you can click that will introduce their directors, introduce their vice presidents and their loan officers. And you look at that, you look and see if you know any of them, or bring someone in that knows a lot of people in your area. You start picking out people you know, and that's where you start greasing your tracks, making those personal contacts, start a little relationship, let them know what you're thinking about doing. When I say let them know what you're thinking about doing, this comes after you've done your homework with your business plan and knowing where you're headed. Keep in mind that any document you sign is the good and the bad, and all the bad, all the devil is in those details. So if you're not used to doing these kind of documents, find a paralegal or a friend to read them over with you. I'll be glad to help proofread some of these documents. But don't you sign a document that's typewritten by somebody else, paid for with someone else's money, because guess what? They paid that money so they can protect themselves and not you. So we got to sign the documents, but you can always say, hey, I got a little problem with this sentence. Let's change this and let's strike through this. This was a little bit much. Let's talk about it and strike through it. And you know what? A lot of entrepreneurs say, hey, I can't do that. They'll laugh at me and turn me down just because I'm wanting to make changes. The fact of the matter is, if you're smart enough to look at these documents and know that things aren't treating you fairly, they're going to think more of you because they know you got a business head about you. That's what you're supposed to do. Just to sign it and to say, okay, this looks good, let's go with it, and never read a 2 or 3 page document. What's in the back of their mind? This person may not pay me because they didn't care enough to read the document or ask questions. I know I used to have that feeling when I did my leases and loans with customers. I like to see people read them, tear them home, ask their lawyer to read them, want to make a change here and there. That means they plan to pay me. Otherwise, I'm just not quite sure. Investors versus partners, we already talked about that. There's a big number out here in this world of funding your business and getting people to help you with it. And the big number is 51%. Business ownership. If you're not owning it by yourself, you're owning it with someone. And one person is going to own a certain amount of the stock and someone else is going to own a certain amount of the stock. And there's 100% of stock in a business. So is your ownership going to end up being 51%? Or 49%, or 30%, or 20%? Well, 51% is as low as I want you to ever go. Hey, that rhymed, didn't it? 51% is as low as I ever want you to go. Because if you don't own 51% of the stock in a business, then you're not in control. And the people who do own 51% or more of the business can, at any time they decide to hold a vote or a meeting, can fire you, run you off, and not have any obligations to tell you what's going on other than at the end of the year when we do the books, we'll see if there's any money coming to you. It is just that cold and calculating. 51% less is 0. So how does that go about? Well, let's say you're starting your business, and I've encouraged you to find some investors to give you some money. So Annette goes over and says, Valerie, I have got a great business I'm getting ready to start, and I'm putting my money into it. But I'll tell you what, if you'll just come and work for me and help me get it started, I'll give you 20% of the stock, Valerie, because you are a great salesperson, and I need a good salesman. And then Annette goes over to Edmund and says, Edmund, listen here, part of my business is all about fixing things and remodeling things. If you'll just come and work with me in my business, I'll pay you good, plus give you 20%. of the stock in the business to help me get it started. Because you got a great following of customers, and I know that you'll be a great asset. And then Annette goes over to Pam. Pam, listen here, I gotta have someone that can prepare food and things for our customers and our staff. And I know you're so good at this. If you'll come and join my organization, I'll give you 20% of our stock just to help me get this business started. And of course, everybody gave her a little bit of money, but she got started and everything is up and running. And Annette, I am so proud of you. Your business is doing good. Things are popping, making a lot of money. And then you know what happens? Valerie and Edmund and Pamela had breakfast together one morning, and they sit around there chit-chatting and said, you know, this business is doing great. We're doing a great job. We're selling and fixing, and the three of us are making this thing work. Said, by golly, we don't need Annette because we're doing all the work. We don't need Annette. So they fire you. And you can't fire me. I own this business. And they say, well, we got 20% plus 20% plus 20%. How much is that? Well, that's 60%. So how much have you got, Annette? 40%. Ooh-wee. Man, the rubber just met the asphalt because you are out. And all the money that you invested to get everything started may be out too. And those other three folks are sitting there high in the sky. They're in charge. As long as you got 51%, that don't happen. Okay? Now, here's a little problem that folks have from time to time. The wife wants to get into business, or the husband wants to get in business, or your mama or your daddy want to be in business with you, or your sister, or your brother, or a good friend. And they're saying, they're old school when they're saying it's 50-50 or nothing. If it's not 50-50, then I'm not going to be a part of it. And I understand that. That's human nature. And I don't want you to go there, encouraging you not to go there. But if it's the only way you can get started, let me give you a couple of tips. Number one, 50-50 deals almost always go south. It may take years for it to happen, but someone's going to die one day, even at the longest term. Someone's going to die, and then there's going to be children involved or other people that want to know how they get their share of this business. What can they do? And they might say, I'm going to force you to sell it so I can get me some cash, get my parents' share. So that happens. And 50-50 deals, people get divorced and go in different ways, and they're almost never happy. That's not a happy day. Tell me, I've been there. I was lucky. I always married good housekeepers. I did. And I can say that because they always kept the house. But I was able to say that they didn't keep the business. But at any rate, just a little pun right there. People go separate ways, okay? And again, people do pass away. People get sick and get disabled and different things. So if you're in a 50-50 situation, I'm telling you right now, someday you're going to need an out. That's not a bad out. And here are the three things that will help you survive. One, when you enter into a 50-50 contract, both parties sign a document that says, I can't sell my part of my stock without giving you first option. First option. And I can't sell it to someone else that's ready to buy it unless I give you the option to meet or to meet their bid at least. And if you meet their bid at least, I'm obligated to sell it to you. And number three is, do not make me an offer for my part of the stock that you're not willing to take for your part of the stock. That's interesting, isn't it? What happens is sometimes people get down on their luck or have a bad thing happen financially, and one partner is personally strapping in their personal life for money, and the other partner happens to be doing good. Maybe they got deep pockets, but they're a little bit greedy, and they look at that other partner and say, well, here's a chance I can do this. And they offer the partner that's struggling a low ball price for their half of the company. And the people that need it have to take it because they got no other options. Man, that sucks. That's bad. That's bad news, but people do that. But if you had the signed agreement in there that don't make me an offer that you're not willing to take, then if they make you that lowball offer, you have the option to go find a friend or a lender, get that money and buy their part for what they were offering to buy your part for, and then that might get you out of the woods, because you may be buying a piece of business that's worth a whole lot more than you're having to pay for it, and you could get a loan on it to keep on going. So those are three important things. Number one, you can't sell your stock without making me an offer, or without offering it to me first. Number two, you can't sell your stock to someone else. If I match their bid, I get to buy it. Or number three, don't make me an offer you're not willing to take for yourself. That can save the day for you. I hope it does if you ever come to that. Hey, I got some good news. A lot of businesses that maybe you're thinking about going into, maybe where your biggest expense is, you're buying a big ticket item like a truck, or like Valerie buying a van, or someone getting into backhoe business, a plumbing business needs a backhoe, or Caesar and Edmund in the construction business, maybe they need a high track or a forklift or a front end loader. The good news is on those big ticket items, when you go to the dealership, they probably have in-house financing. And the good thing about in-house financing is you can get the equipment that you need, borrow money on it, and the equipment becomes the collateral. Not only is it the security, but it's also the collateral. So therefore, you don't have to go to a bank or a credit union or eat up all your personal finances to get another piece of equipment to get in business. Now, here's a few rules here we need to talk about. I'm always telling you, let's don't go into debt. But sometimes we have to go into debt. Like if I had enough money to start my own business without going in debt, I could have never gotten started. Couldn't not make enough to save that much. But if I can go to someone buying something for someone that I'm going to make money with every month, every week, and it's going to make the monthly payments because I have that piece of equipment. Not only is it going to make the payments, but it also going to give me enough return that I can get my down payment back and have some profit left over. And it's going to run good enough and long enough that it's not going to eat me up with repairs. That's a good investment. Sometimes it's the perfectly right thing to do to go into debt to buy something that's going to pay its own way. Now, you got to be careful here. Maybe the truck that you need don't need to be an $80,000 shiny red with silver wheels pickup truck. Maybe the truck you need would get the same job done might be a 15-year-old truck that you don't have to pay $80,000 for, that you can pay $20,000 for. Keep in mind that when you're starting out new, being pretty and red and making a first impression is nice, but you can be pretty and red and clean and not leaking and make a good first impression with a used vehicle as well, or a tractor, or backhoe, or a steam cleaning truck, whatever it is. Many times the vendor can offer you the financing you need so you don't have to deal with the bank and all the mess they put you through. Now, next I want to say, you don't want to borrow more money on this vehicle than it's going to be worth. In other words, it's easy with people pushing finance plans down for you to walk out with a 70 or 80 or 90 month payment plan when something is going to be worn out or start costing you money after 36 months. And therefore, you're hung for 5 years making the payment plus paying for the repairs. So when you're buying something that's a big ticket item, you don't want to finance it any longer, sometimes then it has warranty on it, or that you feel real comfortable that it won't start costing you big bucks to keep it. Therefore, your monthly payments don't go up. And that means you need to really look at that budget and make sure it's going to make those monthly payments as you go, and that you're going to make money on it. There again, that's a good time to talk to someone that's been there and done that and knows about this type of equipment or this type of investment. What's the best terms to finance it for? Financing and paying down payments and keeping your payments as low as you can, and that's what paying down payments do, really help you in another way. Because lots of times financing good quality stuff with the right terms on it is a way of saving money for a rainy day. I know that's kind of hard to grasp, but let me say that. The right kind of financing with good collateralized equipment is a good way that you can save money for a rainy day. Because here's the way that works. Let's say down the road in a couple of years or 3 years, everything's going along fine, you're making money, you're on comfortable ground, and by golly, something just falls out of the sky and knocks you down, and you just gotta have some cash. You just gotta have some cash. And you don't want to go into debt. You already got things leveled off. You're able to make your payments. You don't want to borrow money from anybody else. You can't use up your cash reserves because you're right where you need to be. Well, if you have a piece of equipment or several pieces of equipment that you borrowed money on and you made down payment, then you've got equity in that equipment. Equity in that equipment. And you can sell that equipment for more money than you owe on it because you're not upside down. And that automatically becomes a way that you can have some ready cash to get out of the jam you're in. And as soon as you get out of that jam, you can go back and do the plan again. Get you another piece of equipment and start doing it. A lot of people in the trucking industry do this a lot. But the key to making that work, because they need some more trucks now. They need to get some more trucks on the road. They got some driver opportunities, but things are always changing. They go south one month. But if you're not upside down and you've got equity in the items that you have borrowed money on, you can put them right back in the market, turn them into cash, invest that cash to get out of your jam or to save till things get better. Like you don't need to keep rolling on making payments on something that's not paying for itself. You better to pay it off and get your equity out of it and put it in your savings account for a rainy day. But financing with vendors is a good thing. Doing lease to own plans sometimes is a really good way to cut your tax liabilities down. And I'll mention here's the right time to say it. There's two words here you have to be careful for. Tax avoidance and tax evasion. Tax avoidance is a good thing. That's making plans to run your business in a way that you pay less taxes. Perfectly legal and a good thing to do. Tax evasion is a no. That's a go to jail type thing. That's to pay big fines and be in trouble. But most people don't want to get on that subject when they're giving webinars and seminars. Well, I've been in business long enough not to be afraid of it because I know that if I hadn't avoided taxes through the years, the taxes would have eaten me alive and I wouldn't be sitting here tonight. I'd be pushing up roses somewhere. But let me tell you, tax avoidance is a good thing. Learn them, buying, leasing, renting, how to manage your business, what times of year to buy things so that your depreciation works for you. That's what depreciation is all about, and everybody does that. Well, that's tax avoidance. And in next week and the week after, we're going to get into some of this. So let me invite you to join us for our part 6 and part 7. Be a big deal for us. Planning to make it work. One way you can create some cash flow in your business is what I call pre-sales. That is, if you're in a type of business where you're selling products or service and you've got a good customer that pays you well, they're well-heeled, and you're in a position to say to them, if you'll give me X amount of money now, I'll guarantee you that I will bring you a product 6 or 8 months from now, and it will be paid for. I'll have it there before a certain date, or you give me a certain amount of money, which will be a down payment on it, and I'll bring it to you. Or if you pay me now, I'll go ahead and do this and this and this on a monthly basis. What you're doing is you're getting someone to give you cash now on your promise that you're going to deliver later. And you can put this on a promissory note. And the key there is it's a good way to stay in business. Now, you're giving them that opportunity to pay you now because you're going to give them a break when you take it to them. I used to sell a lot of lawnmowers to contractors, a lot of backhoes to contractors. And they buy several, sometimes lots of those per year from me, the larger business people. And oftentimes I would say to one of those that we had a long-term relationship with, if you ante up 50 grand now, or you ante up 25 grand now, I will deliver you a certain amount of equipment on a certain date, and it'd be paid for if that was the deal, but it would always be a good deal for them. They were cash, they had more cash than they needed at that particular time, and I needed it for my fall campaign. So I was able to get cash income in my business to buy product for the new year, to plan for the next season, to avoid some payments and make payments to lower my interest costs. So sometimes pre-sales in certain businesses can be really good for you and really good for your customer. So after you're up and running, we have to worry about daily cash flow. And cash flow, positive or negative, you have to be serious about it. You have to be like an angry mountain lion when you're talking about cash flow. I'd like for you to adopt cash flow the way I think about it. If I'm talking to someone and they're on my website or on the phone or we're face-to-face negotiating, and I know they've got money in their pocket or in their bank account that they can spend, if I'm a good enough salesman, I consider that a positive cash flow opportunity. And if I don't get a deal or I lose a deal and they're gone, man, it breaks my heart, and I consider that a negative cash flow situation, and that doesn't make me happy. I take cash flow very seriously. And if you're going to stay in small business, you're going to have to always be thinking about it. You can't ever go to sleep. You can't ever relax. You always have to keep one eye kind of open, looking over your shoulder to make sure your cash flow is not going to come up and bite you. Best ways to do that is have some reserve, have a credit line, know how to handle that. With a lot of experience through the years, you can relax and handle it. But when you're first getting started, you really want to keep a good eye on that to grow your business with new customers and go forward. So let's talk about some honest ways to take care of that. If you're buying products, do not buy more products than you can sell in a given period of time that you can stand not to have the use of that cash. You want to plan your inventories to match your sales so that you'll have turns. Turns is the abbreviation for turnovers, and turnovers means that you're turning that inventory. You make no profit until something sells, and when something sells, that's a turn. So having a great big inventory may make you feel important or say, hey man, I got a lot of money in this inventory. Well, having a lot of money in inventory is not profitable. Having a lot of money that's turning the inventory is profitable. So be careful with your inventory turns. That's why it's important that we do your budgeting and you think about what you need to do. Now, I'm talking now about selling products, but inventory turns to a long distance truck driver, someone in the trucking industry, that means those wheels got to turn. And those wheels got to turn carrying a load that's paying its own weight. So even when you're selling time for money or out on the road with equipment and vehicles, what's happening? Is that investment making money or is it sitting still? It's the same situation. Don't let people get ahead of you and owe you a lot of money that's past due. Don't let people get ahead of you and owe you any money that's past due. You are not a banker. I am not a banker. And in today's world with credit cards and Square so you can get paid right away, and with wire transfers, there are ways that you can get your money now because there are people out there that want to stick you, steal from you, get your service or get your products and not pay for it. Sorry to tell you that, but there's still a few of them out there, and I do not want them to come see you, but they may anyway. So you need to be careful about that with how you're handling your past dues. If you see that you've got some holes in your payment plan, you got some things that ain't working right, then let's sit down and analyze that. Your small business center would be a perfect place to do this. Analyze what you need to do to plug up some cash flow holes and do it. That's a big deal for you. Anything that's not needed and you're in a jam, anything that's not needed, cut it out. Hard to do sometimes, Might have some family on the staff that's just pulling a load. You might have a piece of equipment that you bought because it was pretty, but it's not making you money. Sell that sucker. These are not times that you can afford to be careless. Know that. Don't care how long you've been in business. Now, I've got in a little situation the last year or two where I'm paying Spectrum, the internet people, I'm paying them way too much money with 3 accounts, and they're eating me alive up to almost $1,000 a month with those 3 accounts. And I said to myself today, when I paid them that last bill right there, I said to myself, I'm gonna call you tomorrow and take an axe to this thing. I'm gonna cut that in half. Well, I really don't need all that. It was just a nice convenience. Now that's coming from the fellow who had internet trouble last week. So I don't want to make them mad at me, but I do want them to reduce that bill a little bit. Any way we can stretch our dollars, we want to do it. And I used to call it all the time. People said, Steve, what are you doing today? I'd be at lunch. What are you going to do this afternoon, Steve-O? I said, I'll do my magic act. I'm a magician. And they'd look at me and say, you ain't a magician. What are you talking about? I said, in my business, the magic act is for me to go down to the store and look at something that's not making money and take a picture of it and go out and sell it to someone for cash. That's called turning iron into money, and that is a magic act if you're in my business. Every business is that way. Figure out the little things you can do to put your business in a good cash flow situation. We talked about the bank loans. We talked about the borrowing tips. We talked about cash flow. COVID is still here. Did you know that? More COVID started up last week than before, and is just starting to work on the children. The new vaccines are out. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but as soon as I can go get mine, I'm going to do it. I've had COVID twice, been vaccinated 3 times, but I didn't get real sick. I got over it in 2 or 3 days and didn't have to go to the hospital. And at 76, every vaccine they come out with, old Steve-O's going to go get it. I believe in them, and if you believe in them, get yours as well. But COVID can close down businesses. If it stops people from seeing each other or talking to each other, it can close down businesses. So I want you to think about how your business will be effective if another major pandemic comes along, or another hurricane, or another major fire or flood. There's always something that can really hurt you. Look at those risks and think about what you can do to avoid it. Some of the things that you can be in a better situation to do that. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I see your messages. Thank you. Is to add the right profit centers. Remember the profit centers that people need and profit centers that people want. Figure that out in your business and be able to move forward with it. Maybe you can turn a part of what you're doing. Maybe you have a hobby that you can turn into a business to create more profit centers and more cash flow. If you're good with any type of animals, everybody is paying more money for different types of animals and the services related. If you're good with a chainsaw, you might be able to make figurines. This fellow over at Seven Springs does this a lot. Private labels. Maybe you're the worst cook that ever went in the kitchen, but you can still go to these private label manufacturers and buy the best jellies and jams and sauces and put your name on it and sell the heck out of it. These things cost $2 or $3 a piece, and you triple your money on them. 2-year shelf life. It's just a good little profit business, and so good things to do. I've done some of those myself. Maybe you're into exercises and give yoga classes or diet classes, but whatever it is, think about, can I make some more money doing this? We have to stay in touch. We have to stay in touch with our friends and our customers. So constant promotions is the best way to keep your business rolling. What are the 3 rules to catch fish? Keep fresh bait in the water, keep fresh bait in the water, keep fresh bait in the water. What are the 3 rules to catch customers? Keep fresh promotions in front of them, keep fresh promotions in front of them, keep fresh bait in the water. It's not rocket science. It's just having the discipline to set your priorities and make it happen. That's what it is. Well, I don't know why I'm not clicking here. Let's try this. There we go. Target customer groups. Know the groups that you can probably sell to the quickest. Know those people that you can probably go get business from them the quickest and focus on them. Don't waste your money trying to be all things to all people. You got to be everything to some people, so work your target customer groups and things will do a lot better. When you target in the right customer, you're not going to waste your money and you'll start seeing results right away. Remember the 3 words that help you do upsells? By the way. By the way, I've got this, and thanks for buying that, and I've also got this to go with it. When you have planned your profit center so you can say, by the way, and enjoy upsells, then you're going to start stacking your profit. By the way, I can do this. Valerie, Annette, Sarah, Edmund, Pam, what's going on? Are you ready to say, and by the way, we can do this and we can do that? Well, I know Edmund can do it because he's been showing all the different things that he can do contracting-wise, from swimming pools to roofs to painting to remodeling kitchens. He can buy the way the heck out of you if you want to remodel your house, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And Valerie, if you call up Valerie and say, Valerie, I need to ride around Wilmington a little bit, and she's going to say, well, sure, I can carry you to the airport, and by the way, I can give you a tour of all the historic sites, and by the way, if you'd like to take the ferry ride over to Southport, I can do all that for you. And by the way, we can do just whatever you want to go. I know the best restaurants and where the best ice cream is. You need to be ready to tell your customers what else you can do for them so that you can improve your profits. Now, maybe right now you're thinking about staying at home running your business, and that's fine because it's the least expensive way to have a business. But if you don't feel like you really got to go out and see people and do things, going mobile may be your next step. Going mobile may be your next step. Setting up pop-ups, having a food truck or a van, or being able to go to someone's house and do the work. It can be a little tricky because you're really not up your cost, but also it's a way to get out in the world. So you want to talk about how can I go mobile? I'll be glad to talk to you about it. So think about that, maybe what you're after for. So let's bring it on home now. What does all this boil down to? Stop being a spectator if you want to be in business. You got to get out there, let the people know who you are and where you are. You can't hide at home. You have to put it out there, and some of you are doing such a great job getting ready to do that. Pam, I am so proud of you. You're ready to jump and just get it on. And the very minute you tell me you got some jam or jelly I can come by for me, I'm going to come knocking. And a lot of other people will too. So let us know what's up and what's available. Take some pictures of these profits so you can stop being a spectator and start putting your stuff out there and start being a player. We want to be players, right? And you need to get in the game. You need help? Call the Small Business Center. Call me. Search for those new selling opportunities. Fight distractions. Set the right priorities. Being the best person you can be means that you're going to let your light shine, your candle. Encourage people. Encourage people to give it a try and let them know you'll be behind them. Be willing to help others. If you believe in yourself and you trust in yourself, you can do it. I know you can do it, and there's a lot of people that will really help you. I want to say thank you so much for staying with us tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation, and remind you that next week, same time, same station, just log in the same way you did. Next week, we're going to talk about the basic bookkeeping, what a business owner needs to know about bookkeeping. Not all about the QuickBooks and all that stuff, but the basics that'll help you be a better manager. Then we're going to talk about forecasting, and we're going to talk about negotiating. Now, these are classes that you're probably not going to get anywhere else in the whole system, but I'm going to give you some good information and look forward to it. Also, I want you to be doing your homework that you can and get your quiz. Read the quiz with answers, so when the one without answers comes, you can fill it in. It's an open book test. And then get ready for week 7, which is our last week in this series. In week 7, we're going to talk about taxes, basic taxes, depreciation, record keeping, those kind of things. And then we'll wrap it up with some secrets that I've learned after 60 years of selling, some things that people don't know that I'm going to be happy to share with you, how to close deals and be more effective negotiator. pretty exciting about that. Then the rest of the news is the first 7 14-hour course will stop next week after next, but we're going to move right into 5 more Wednesday nights where we dive deeper into subjects. And if you attend those, you can get an option for another certificate. And anything you haven't finished during these first 7 weeks, you've got 5 more weeks to work on those things, and I'll leave the door open for you. I want everybody to get to where they want to do. So if you want to keep going steady with me Wednesday nights, we got a date. That'll be fine. You can leave this and go to prayer meeting if you want to, or before you go to Hardee's or McDonald's or Highway 55, get you a burger, sit here and eat it while we discuss business. Man alive, I'm so glad fall's here. These cooler days are nice, aren't they? So turn on your microphones, give me the good news. Let me hear what you think about tonight, or if you have any questions, we'll talk about it. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Great as usual, man. Appreciate it.
Well, so glad you were with us, and I want you to keep an eye on the sunny side. Let me know when the oysters get big and fat and salty.
I certainly will.
And I promise I'll drive down there, and you and I will enjoy a few of them. How about that?
That works for me for sure.
All right. How about it, someone else? Valerie, Sarah, you still with us?
Yes, Mr. Carver, this is Valerie. Thank you so much for the nuggets. I always learn more and more each time I take your class. And I just appreciate you and your family sacrificing the time to help educate us. And I've been moving forward the last 2 weeks thanks to your class and training. So
well, thank you so much. I appreciate you letting me use you for a guinea pig tonight. And you don't mind me advertising for you, do you?
Not at all, but not at all. Thank you so much.
You bet. You're a sweetheart, and I appreciate all that you do and try to help people. Valerie spends more time trying to help people than she does make money, so she's a good girl. Thank you. Any other comments? You still with us?
Mr. Carver, is it possible that you can ask the other students or people online if it's okay if you share their emails with us? Because I would love to kind of promote in these areas as well as visit some of them.
That would be great. Anyone that don't want to hear from Valerie, you need to tell me. Otherwise, she's going to have to get an invitation to send you a letter. How about that?
Send it.
Yeah, I think, Valerie, that's nice of you to ask, and it's appropriate, and I'll take the responsibility. If there's any flack about it, I can handle it because I went to handling school. Okay. All right. Anyone else? Talk to me.
Thank you, Steve. I'm going to get that list of what's available. I'm going to get it to you shortly.
Pam, I'm looking forward to that. And I want to see some pictures now, okay? Some pictures of some products that we can put on here, and you can put on Facebook and say, call me up. I've got this for sale. Bring me your money. You know, those people out there have got your money in their pocket. They got your money in their pocket, and they want to give it to you. You just got to show them how to do it. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. All right, you guys. God bless you. If you hadn't talked to Jesus in a while, talk to him a little bit. You just might find out some things that will help you in your business, help you with your family and any problems that you got. I want to tell you that 3 weeks ago, I got baptized for the 3rd time. I was baptized as a Methodist with a sprinkle thing, you know, when I was a baby. Then later I was a Presbyterian and did dedication at 12 years old. That's the Presbyterian baptism. But I wanted the full ride, so I've been going to a church in Elizabethtown where they put people down under the water. And I asked the preacher if he would dunk me, and he said, yes, sir. And by golly, that was a great event, and I felt better ever since, and I highly recommend it. So wherever you find your redemption or your faith or spirit motivation, whatever your religion is, play on it. It can make a big part in when we're trying to recharge our battery. It really can. So have a good evening. God bless you. Take care.
You do the same, Steve. I'll be getting baptized on the 28th of this month, so this will be my first time.
Really? Well, praise
Yes,
the Lord. I'm so happy of that. I'm going to send you an email with a picture of my event, and I want you to do the same thing, okay?
Okay.
That's good for you. Where's that event going to be held?
It's going to be here in Williamson at the United Holy Deliverance Church. We just call it Jerome Wilson's church. He was there for so long.
Will that be a Sunday morning service?
It's actually a Saturday morning. It's actually a Saturday morning. Yeah.
Is that in downtown Williamston or out in the country?
It's kind of downtown.
Yeah. Man, I sure would love to show up and surprise you there.
That would
You
be
got this old white-headed man in there?
I'll have my wife take pictures. My wife and mom take pictures.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're so proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you much.
All right. Well, good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye. Have a good week.
All right.